Hi, good morning. This is a video with the intention of documenting the development of the 3D project of a CoreXY printer. It's not a tutorial or anything like that, it's just a time-lapse documenting how I made the parts use Blender, a free software for 3D modeling. Normally used for organic modeling is now being used for mechanical modeling. I apologize in advance for my bad English, as I have recently adapted to use the universal language, but I don't think many people will consume the content, so it's training. I start by just positioning the 2020 profiles of 500 and 1608 millimeters with horizontal profiles of 5 millimeters. I intend to obtain a useful printing area of 400 by 400 millimeters. This gives me very little space to work with the pieces, so everything has to be very minimalist and compact without giving up hardness to that the parts always remain stable. So take into account the little space I have to make parts without interfering in the useful area of printing. The motor and part of the belt will move a little to the outside of the frame. However, I intend to fix this in future when I design the case to cover everything, as the 3D printer will not open. I start to think and model the main part on a CoreXY 3D printer, as it is responsible for the movement of the two axes and for distributing the force of the motors to the part where the extruder will be. The roll 60 in that part, and I try to create so that is compact and very useful. It will also be responsible for fixing the 2020 profiles on both sides. It will serve as and stop considering that we will use the sensorless homing method to identify the start point before printing, dispensing with end stops. This piece will be divided into 4 parts, as it's not enough just to mirror it to the other side, considering that it needs some modifications. And for everything to fit perfectly and compactly, some screws will have to be embedded inside the piece to fix it on the linear rails MGN12C. In addition to thinking about the shape of the piece and where each trim will fit, we must be concerned with the mesh of the model, as there are some flaws in the mesh that can condemn the piece when printing or even make future modifications difficult. So always after applying the idea in the piece, we must correctly and connect the vertices correctly. I create a sample of 400 by 400 millimeters to represent the useful printing area. I need to have an idea of where the nozzle will be and with the dimensions of the piece will allow movement from start to finish. Or if I would need to move or reduce something so that everything works as it should must be. So that everything is not confused to define the line where the components will remain, I create a basic representation of how the timing belt should be in that part. This is very important in this type of modeling that does not have the parts and dimensions defined and is being everything decided on time. Whenever I want to create a hole or open a space in the piece, I create the shape with the dimensions and use the Boolean modifier in Blender. I believe that for the way I model, it's helped a lot, but everyone has their own way of creating. After using the modifier, I always correct the mesh to ensure that there will be no failures. Whenever I show up with a piece without a modeler, it is to facilitate the process, considering that it saves precious time and all I have to do is download it. Some may come with a difference in the size of the one I brought, but just correctly, like the height of motors pulleys, just edit it. Then I go back to representing where the time belt will go to define exactly where in the part the bearings and the pulley will be to form the boolean. I had a problem with the belt loop, so this look a little longer than it should have. The bearings I am using are 625ZZ. I choose these bearings over the pulley mainly because of the price. The belts don't go through that part, it's the back part, the smooth part of the belt. And the bearing serves to do the redirection, so it ends up eliminate the pulley smooth and the flange. Bearing in mind that the piece itself does the job of not letting the belt out the place. After create the piece representing the space and performing the Boolean modifier, I keep trying to make sure the mesh is connected correctly. Then I create a cylinder to represent the dimension where the tooth head pulley should be in the piece. I keep measuring use the blender roller, it means that I am comparing with the real piece that I have in my hand and make sure that's not bigger, because I already had the piece before starting the project. I downloaded the screw models from the GIN 912 standard just for comparison and choose with measurements I have to use. But to make the rows in the piece, I need to model the shape of the screws and give some friends so that everything fits perfectly in the real piece. To ensure that the pillar will not cause friction with the piece, I have to increase the space. But when I try to do this, I create a flaw in the mesh and I have to correct it manually. It is an extremely boring and time-consuming process. As I said, I start to create the shape around the squirrels to be able to create the boolean rows. I also make the representation of the scroll nuts signs they will be embedded. This is the point where I can duplicate and mirror the piece to facilitate the process of create the other side on the positions of the bearings, and the pulley will be modified. Maybe I screw too. I try to facilitate the process by just moving what is already done. These cause some defects in the mesh, but they are not difficult to rebuild. I start to create the materials for the pieces in order to facilitate the visualization and not confuse. The piece that will be printed, I left them in a wine color because they are the colors that I intend to print the pieces. So that the piece don't look so simple and square, I decided to make a honeycomb texture. I do it this way, always use the Boolean modifier, but I don't think it's the best way to do it. So the video don't get so long and I am already tired. I am going to stop this first part. This is the main piece and it took the most time. I believe that in the future the development will be faster. Yeah, see you later.